In this video, we're going to draw and dimension this cover plate. The main ideas that we want to look at in this particular part is that this has what we call a formed, well, 5 formed holes in it, meaning that it's not just a hole that's drilled through, but it also has, as is indicated by this symbol, it's a counterbore hole with a different diameter and has a depth to it. This is not the way you might want to dimension it exactly, but we'll get into that. So we'll just start with a 4-inch diameter circle, and then we'll build the formed holes that are all on a 3-inch diameter. So let's jump right to it. So here's my 4-inch diameter circle, and I'm going to draw another circle at a 3-inch diameter. I'm going to start with the one on the bottom because tabbing over, it's on this 3-inch diameter, and this is the circle directly below the center is the only one that's actually, you know, vertically or horizontally aligned. Everything else basically is measured from that hole. So I'm going to start with that bottom hole, and it has a 3/8 inch diameter. So 3/8 inch diameter, or a 3/16 radius. I'm going to draw another circle at the same center, and this one has a diameter of 9/16, if I'm not mistaken. Diameter of 9/16. There we go. Now, these are just circles. I'm going to be extruding them, well, now. So let's use the Extrude Tool. This one's 1/2 inch. Went the other way. That's okay. Just to be a little clear on it, I'm going to move these over the 1/2 inch they need so it can be seen on there. Okay, so this guy here, the outside hole, will have a depth of 1/4 inch. So let's extrude that one. If I could just track that and get that 1/4 inch the right direction. Nope. So I just have to move that a 1/4 inch. I have to type in negative numbers next time. Okay, there's that. And then, well, this one is going to get extruded, and I don't care how big it is anyway. So, and this allows me to make copies of this and then subtract them from the cylinder. Okay, so go back to the front view. I'm going to take these 2 cylinders now and copy them. I'll do the first one at 45 degrees, so rotate command is probably the easiest one to use to do this. So I'm going to rotate it about the center, and before I do much more, I'll use the copy option here and just type in 45. Counterclockwise is positive, so there it is. The next one is at 60 degrees, so similarly I'll rotate that one with a copy at 60 degrees. Do it again with a copy and 90. Last one, 75. Looks like it. Okay, so there are all the holes, and let's go ahead and subtract them. Now I can do them all at once because this depth will get subtracted from the cylinder as will the longer hole. So just the subtract tool, select the main cylinder, and then basically everything else. There we go. So we can see what the formed holes look like. Some counterbored holes in there, in other words. Just like it shows. Okay, so now in layout view, let's make sure the scale is okay. we'll just do a front and side view. Now, to dimension them, I'm just going to go over, there's the same old dimensionings, but as far as dimensioning this formed hole, that's what I really want to talk about in this video. So I'm going to start with the diameter, and I'm going to dimension it. It doesn't matter which one, I'll just use the most convenient one here. And here is the outer diameter of this, but that's not how I want to be able to dimension that formed hole in one dimension, basically, not just and I really can't dimension, or I shouldn't dimension the depth of that hole in the side view. So let's go ahead and give it a double click. And the first one I want to start with is the through hole diameter. So N for the diameter, and it has a diameter of 3/8, so in decimal form. Put a line break in it before I forget. Left justify everything. So here's the main dimension I don't want to mess with, but I want to use a counterbore symbol, which is a lowercase v, and that is the diameter of the counterbore. Arrow over to the end, add another line, and lowercase x is the depth symbol, and if I'm mistaken, it was at a 1/4 inch. Yes, 1/4 inch. I'm not using fractions, just decimals. So there is the completed dimension for this hole. It shows the through hole, and I don't need to put the word through in there because it's assumed that if you don't have a depth on a hole, that it goes all the way through it. So there's the 3/8 inch through diameter and a counterbore at 9/16 for a depth of 1/4 inch. Oh yeah, there's 5 of them. So 5 times, put a little space, and that's the end of the dimension. However, I do need to change the precision because it's less, so that gives me my 9/16 inch precision as well. So that dimension takes care of all the holes. Just to finish up a little bit more, I want to take out the center mark for it so we can draw our own at the angles required. And also I need to dimension the angles between them. So let's just do one and let you figure out the rest of them. So we have a 45-degree angle between that bottom one, which I don't need to dimension like any other angle to place this one because I'll have a 3-inch center line. Let's just draw that in there. So there's the whole the 3-inch, and I'll dimension that, and I'll want to measure the angle between them. So when I put a center mark on the outside circle, that'll go through this bottom hole. So I'll already, maybe I should just do that right now. So I'll go ahead and put a center mark on that, nice pretty center mark. And now I can dimension using that line and the angle through the center of that hole. So let's put a dimension on that. And then we'll finish it up. Okay, so I'm going to use, I don't think I can even use this line because it's not just a single line, but let's just, so I'm going to use my vertex. And this will be the vertex of the angle. So I'll just place that at the centers of those two holes, and I'll just put the dimension out here. Now I might have trouble with that dimension line, but I can edit that later. And then I'll put center marks through just by drawing a center line. Back to my center layer and draw the center line at a nice angle, getting it through. To the center, and I'll play with the line type scale. looks good until I got a number that looks good, and then I'll rotate those lines the same as I had before to get the rest of them. Okay, that should take care of most of the questions that might arise with this particular part.